comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon, my fellow trudgers. We are going to be talking about emotional sobriety. And the emotional sobriety that we were talking about today I was asked to cover this since I have been complaining about people utilizing it to make money. Is emotional sobriety what you think it is? Oops. And I've shared this out, so people better show up. I can get rid of some of these from yesterday. Did you catch the podcast? If not, it is out. It is out. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit better than everything. Did not get good news, did I? Yeah, and then I did another podcast. That'll be out this evening. Hi, Michelle. Jason came on, and yeah, he did a really good job. It was a good story. Great time getting to know him. Great guy, man. He's doing a lot of work. They work in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I think personally, from what I see, and I look into a lot of stuff, Kalamazoo is kicking butt, man. And he was talking about it. He's like, yeah, you know, because he helps run a sober living that I really like. Yes, he's a recovery coach. I like, yeah, because he's doing things the right way. But you know, he's like, yeah, we have a halfway house, we have reintegration, we have this. I'm like, man, we don't even have a tea talks. So I'm a little jealous because they get to do this stuff, but we don't get to hear because our government refuses to do anything. All right, let's get to emotional sobriety. Let's not get on that topic again today, Dion. It's taken enough of my time today. We are going to be talking. This is where we're going. This is where emotional sobriety started. All right. But welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm your host. You're going to have to put up with that. If you want to come on and co-host with me, let me know. I'll be happy to have you on. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. All right. Now, my book opens right to it because it's the first thing I read in this. And if you have this, the language of the heart, feel free to follow along. I'm on page 275. Or, thanks, Michelle. Thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate it. Here we go. Emotional sobriety. Next frontier. Not the book. PDF. All right. This way, you can click on the link and you can read the same thing that I'm reading if you would like to. Or you can have it for later or whatever. So before I get started on emotional sobriety, I'm going to pull out the big book. Okay, I'm going to go to how it works. I don't know why I'm pulling it out. I know what it says. There's a part on page 58. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Okay. Now, let's get started on this. The Next Frontier, Emotional Sobriety, January 1958. Okay. I have been reading this for 35 years. So, no, this is not new. That's why I got so upset about it. Then listen to this. Article is the substance of a letter Bill wrote to a close friend who also had troublesome depressions. What is emotional sobriety? Emotional sobriety is all the crap that your resentments didn't take care of. That's it. Okay? It doesn't need to be more than this. When it is, it's no longer simple and will not apply. It will not apply. Okay, hopefully I can get this done in 35 minutes. If not, I guess I'll be late to my 3 o'clock. So, and Michelle, thank you for asking me to do this. I think it was you that had asked me to. So, I think that many oldsters, I would be one of those, who have put an oldster is 10 plus years. A person with long-term sobriety, 10 plus years. You have put our AA booze cure to severe but successful tests, still find they often lack emotional sobriety. Perhaps they will be the spearhead of the next major development in AA, the development of much more real maturity and balance, which is, say, humility in our relations with ourselves, with our fellows, and with God. Those adolescent urges that so many of us have for top approval, perfect security, and perfect romances, urges quite appropriate to the age of 17, prove to be an impossible way of life when we are at the age of 47 or 57. What are they saying? I started drinking when I was 13, and therefore I was emotionally stunted at 13. I would be 13 years old for a good portion of my life. Okay? And when you're in your mid-30s and you're throwing yourself on the ground, flopping around like a kid that doesn't get his toy back, it is no longer acceptable. Now, we were brought up, a lot of us were brought up this way. And until we know different, we're going to use other people to be dependent for who we are. And we have to stop. Emotional sobriety means grow the fuck up. Sorry, we need to grow up. Maybe that feels a little bit better because there's no reason for me to be mean. So since AA began, I've taken immense wallops in all these areas because of my failure to grow up emotionally and spiritually. My God, how painful it is to keep demanding the impossible, and how very painful to discover finally that all along we have the cart before the horse. Then comes the final agony of seeing how awfully wrong we have been, but still finding ourselves able to get off the emotional merry-go-round. My PTSD understands that. See, I worked hard on my program, but I would get these intrusive thoughts and I would react to these thoughts because I thought that they were happening right now. Right? It's like having an out-of-body experience. Watching myself run around telling everybody to piss off when actually I'm trying to say I love you. How to translate, and people would tell me, oh, those are resentments. These were not resentments. No. It wasn't a resentment. It was trauma. Undealt with trauma. How to translate the right mental conviction into right emotional result and so into easy, happy, and good living. Well, that's not only the neurotics problem, it's a problem of life itself for all of us who've gotten to the point of real willingness to right principles in all of our affairs. Even then, as we hew away, peace and joy may elude us. That's the place so many of us AA ulsters have come to, and it's a hell of a spot, literally. How shall our unconscious, from which so many of our fears, compulsions, and phony aspirations still stream, be brought into line with what we actually believe, know, and want? How to convince our dumb, raging, and hidden Mr. Hyde becomes our main task. Let's talk about depression. Robin Williams. He just described Robin Williams. Yeah. See, I have found that most people that are positive most of the time, happy all the time, that are always joking around, are usually very, very depressed. Okay? Now, what sucks is we're still working with Mr. Hyde here. And that's why we tend to think that these are resentments, but these aren't resentments. These are character defects. Okay. I've recently come to believe that this can be achieved. I believe so because I see many benighted ones, folks like you and me, commencing to get results. Last autumn, depression, having no really rational cause at all, almost took me to the cleaners. I began to be scared that I was in for another long chronic spell. Considering the grief I've had with depressions, it wasn't a bright prospect. Okay. What's another reason why we keep it hidden? We don't want to be locked up. That was me. I hid it for years because if I told people something like, I would feel better dead, I'm afraid that somebody will put me away. And it's a legitimate fear. Two words I hate hearing: 72-hour hold. I kept asking myself, why can't this 12 steps to work to release depression? By the hour, I stared at the St. Francis prayer. It's better to comfort than to be comforted. Here was the formula, all right, but why didn't it work? Suddenly, I realized what the matter was. My basic flaw had always been dependence, almost absolute dependence on people or circumstances to supply me with prestige, security, and the like. Failing to get these to according to my perfectionist dreams and specifications, I had fought for them. And when defeat came, so did my depression. It's a setup. It's a setup. This is part of the insanity of our disease, or at least a part that I got. Okay? Until it was broken. Until something was interfered with it. Like Dion, you cannot continue to use everybody else for who you are. I'm angry because that person made me angry. Is no longer viable. That person didn't make me angry. I made me angry. I still hate it. But they did it. Yeah, they did it. But my emotions belong to me. Okay? My emotions belong to me, not anybody else. So what does that mean? I have to trust the fact that people are people. That's it. That was one thing that I had to do in the beginning. Okay. There wasn't a chance until a chance of making the outgoing love of St. Francis a workable and joyous way of life until these fatal and almost absolutely dependencies were cut away. It's kind of like in order to believe in God, you have to stop playing God. The way to total independence is total dependence on a power greater than myself. It's the same kind of concept. Okay. We haven't gotten to the answer yet. But we're getting there though. So, but there are some requirements. Number one is some awareness here. Awareness that we always continue to use other people. Okay. What do you think emoticons are about? Likes and loves. Oh, the more of those I get, the better I feel about myself. Oh, I only got one comment. Oh, I'm not this. Even I go through it here sometimes, don't I? See? But I will not go against my morals to play in somebody else's backyard. And a lot of people know this about me. A lot of people, I kind of want, no, I don't. Never, I said I was going to. So, because I had over the years undergone a little bit of spiritual development, the absolute quality of these frightful dependencies had never been so starkly revealed. Reinforced by what grace I could secure in prayer, I found I had to exert every ounce of will and action to cut off these faulty emotional dependencies upon people, upon AA indeed. Now, remember, this person is the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, and he goes through it too. He's just another human being. He's just another child of God. Okay. Upon any circumstances whatsoever, then only could I be free to love as Francis had. And I love this next line. Emotional and instinctual satisfactions I saw were really the extra dividends of having love, offering love, and expressing a love appropriate. Look like somebody tried to underline that or so. Appropriate to each relation in life. See, I didn't know how to love appropriately. There was always a demand. If I do this, I expect this back. There it is. Oh, I held a door open for somebody. They didn't say thank you. Cool. Emotional sobriety. I didn't get what I wanted. Emotional sobriety. Okay. See, you don't need a master class. You just need the answers. Okay. You know what a master class is? It is an hour of beating around the bush before you get to the answer. That's a master class. Plainly, I could not avail myself to God's love until I was able to offer it back to him by loving others as he would have me. Oh, no. Yeah. We even get directions in this. And I couldn't possibly do that so long as I was victimized by false dependencies, because they don't exist. Okay? We cannot depend upon other people for our happiness, aside from the fact that happiness isn't the goal. Right? Happiness is a dividend. For my dependence meant demand. And demand for the possession and control of people and the conditions surrounding me. Okay. While those words, absolute dependency, may look like a gimmick, they are the ones that help to trigger my release into my present degree of stability and quietness of mind. Qualities which I am now trying to consolidate by offering love to others, regardless of the return to me. Period. Hey, Gary, good to see you, brother. This seems to be the primary healing circuit and outgoing love of God's creation and his people, by means of which we avail ourselves his love for us. It is most clear that the real current flow can't flow until our paralyzing dependencies are broken, and broken at depth. Only then can we possibly have a glimmer of what adult love really is. So what's the answer here? Love is the answer. Unconditional love is the answer to emotional sobriety. There you go. Now use it. All right. I have not had unconditional love today. I'm going to admit it. Means I'm going to have to change my attitude a little bit then, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Spiritual calculus, you say, not a bit. Watch any AAs of 6 months working on a new 12-step case. If the case says to the devil with you, the 12-stepper only smiles and turns to another case. He doesn't feel frustrated or rejected. If his next case responds and turns to give love and attention to other alcoholics, yet gives none back to him, the sponsor is about it anyway. Yeah, I'm still happy about it. I'm a guide. When a sponsor gets angry with their sponsee, something's wrong. The sponsor needs emotional sobriety badly. I do not sponsor for clout, for fame, for credit. No. There's only one program I get to take credit for, and that is my own. And even then, I give it to God most of the time. But yeah, my recovery is from me and God working on it together. And then I have friends that help me out. Okay. When I have a sponsee that moves on, I'm happy. I did my job. I did my job. Now I get to go do it again. I get to go do it again and again and again. Do you know how many lives I've seen transformed by this program? I don't. Thousands, easily thousands. Been around 35 years. Today marks 35 years. March 16th. He still doesn't feel rejected. Instead, he rejoices that his one-time prospect is sober and happy. And if his next following case turns out later in time to be his best friend or romance, then the sponsor is most joyful. But he well knows that his happiness is a byproduct, the extra dividend of giving without any demand for return. Can you see why I got upset about people using this to make money? Do you know how much it cost me to get this information? Do you know how much it cost me to give it to you? Well, it actually cost me money to do this. So about a little over 100. Okay. The really stabilizing thing for him was having and offering love to that strange drunk on his doorstep. That was Francis at work, powerful and practical, minus dependency and minus demand. All right. So I got a great example here because I want to tout Jason because it's a good sober living, and I know it is because I've talked with Jason a lot. I know their program. Okay. What they do is they meet people where they are at. They find out their needs, and then they help them with that. That is what we call reintegration back into society. Okay. Here in Colorado, this is the way it works. We're going to put you in a sober living. If you don't do what you're told, we're going to kick you out. That's how it goes. If you don't meet us where we are at, we cannot help you. That's Colorado. Now you see why I'm frustrated in that. But that's a good example of what we're talking about here. In the first 6 months of my own sobriety, I worked hard with many alcoholics. Not one responded. Yet, this work kept me sober. It wasn't a question of those alcoholics giving me anything. My stability came out of trying to give, not out of demanding that I receive. So, when it comes to sponsorship, I am 100% successful. Bill was 100% successful. I am still sober. My success is based on what I do, not what other people do. Good or bad, I take none. Couple more short paragraphs. Good stuff, though, huh? Thus, I think we can work out. I think it can work out with emotional sobriety if we examine every disturbance we have, great or small. It's the little things that kill. You can take care of those. Telling you, oh, it's small. I take care of it. No, do not determine the worth of the problem. Just take care of the problem now. Now. Okay. And great or small, we will find at the root of it some unhealthy dependency and its consequent unhealthy demand. Let us, with God's help, continually surrender these hobbling demands. What does that mean? It means it's gonna happen again. This isn't an if, it's a when. We're human. It was a natural function for me. So there's a good chance I'm going to do it again. But now that I'm aware, the time that happens will go from like this to this, then this and this and this. It'll never be this, but it will be that. Okay. But you're going to make mistakes. Then you use the 10th step. Oh, you know what? I am using my wife to make me feel better right now. What's another way that we do it? Oh, gratitude lists. I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. What about the millions of people that don't? I don't feel grateful for that. In fact, it makes me feel shitty. It does. Then let us, with God's help, continually surrender these hobbling demands. Then we can be set free to live in love. We may then be able to 12th step ourselves and others into emotional sobriety. Of course, I haven't offered you a really new idea. This was not an original idea. Again, we're not any smarter. Okay? Only a gimmick that has started to unhook several of my own hexes at depth. Nowadays, my brain no longer races compulsively to either elation, grandiosity, or depression. I have been given a quiet place in the bright sunshine. And that's emotional sobriety. It's just an awareness. That's it. An awareness that we have got to take responsibility for our own emotions. That's it. There's your masterclass. Yeah. It's not huge. It doesn't need to be. What it is simple. And that is what it needs to be. The moment we take any of this stuff and make it unsimple or conform it to something else, it loses what it has. Okay? There are no more original ideas. They are all gone. They're gone. They're gone. They're gone. We've done it. There's been millions of people that have done this. And then we have some people that come along and think that they have the brightest fucking idea in the world, but what they failed to do was go in the 12 by 12 and read in tradition 3 that they tried that before and it didn't work. And the reason that I get upset about it is because when we give misinformation in recovery, it has the potential to fucking kill someone. And if you go around intentionally doing it, In my purview, you're no different than a fentanyl drug dealer. You're not. And you should be placed in jail for killing people. I'm that serious about it. That's what I got. I'm going to go hit my 3:00 meeting. Thanks for hanging out with me. Michelle, it's good to see you. Gary, it's good to see you. I hope everybody has a great day. And we will see you all again tomorrow. I love you. Peace out and have a day.